star, should I?
The Lord is here. The Lord is here. And we worship you. The Lord is here. Yes, the Lord is here. Morning, David. Yes, the Lord is here, and we worship you, and we lift our hands in adoration and praise. Yes, the Lord is here. Yes, the Lord is here. Morning, Pat. And we saw this feedback updated today. Oh, the Lord is here. Morning, Heather. We worship you. And we lift our hands, and we lift our hearts, and we lift our voices to worship you. Morning, Paul. To worship you. For you are Lord. You are Lord. We worship you. Worship you. Worship you. We worship you. We lift your name, for you are the King. You are the King. You are the Lord over all. Worship you day and night, for you are worthy. You are worthy. You are worthy of our praise. We love you, Lord, with all our heart, with all our soul, and all our strength. We love you, Lord, and we lift your name over all. We love you, Lord. We love you, Lord. We love you, Lord. We love you, Lord. Your mercy's falling down on me. Yes, your mercy's falling. Your mercy's falling down on me. Yes, your mercy's falling. Your mercy's falling down on me. Your mercy's falling down on me. Your mercy's falling. Your mercy's falling. Yes, your mercy's falling. Your mercy's falling. Ghana, we would be dancing, wouldn't we, Abigail? But nevertheless, as I say, I often sing with people that are perhaps not so strong, and I tell them you can dance in your head. And we were at one conference where there were a lot of people my age, and in fact Mary and I were spring chickens, and we began to sing this. Began to see little feet tapping, and little hands waving. Mary went and got two of the ladies who were, you know, considerably older than us, and said, "Come on, Mavis, come on, Jane, we can dance." Up we got, and these beloved saints, who, you know, even putting one foot in front of the other was difficult. They got up and they danced, not quite Africa style, but it was lovely to see it, because you see, you can dance till you're 100. You don't have to dance on the outside, you dance on the inside. I think that's what well, in Africa we understand that. You know, our elderly grannies and granddads often just sit while we're dancing around, but you can dance on the inside. And I love to see that. People who are, you know, and I once was at a conference, and a lady was sitting in front of me with a carer, and she had the blank look which I knew was Alzheimer's, and but her eyes were glued to my fingers. I'd never seen it quite like it before. You don't see my fingers on our live stream. It's a shame really, because, you know, seeing a musician play is, Abigail's dancing good. Anyway, when I finished, I went to the door to say goodbye, and I heard this beautiful piano music, and it was her. She was playing the piano beautifully, and her carer said it's the first time. She was a concert pianist. It's the first time in 10 years she's ever played the piano. because on the inside she was still a pianist. And when she watched me worshipping through the guitar, there you go, wonderful, isn't it? Dance on the inside. Isn't it lovely? Don't you think? The thing about being a Christian is, so your legs don't work, but it doesn't stop your spirit working. Your spirit never gets old, never gets sick, never gets ill, and you can dance to your 100, and you can worship to your 100, and there's nothing to stop you. What stops you in the West is ageism that assumes that, you know. I read something in the paper this week that some young whippersnapper, old people should keep out the pub, you know, mind your own blank business. My response, step aside, boy, you know, young boy, go out and play with your toys, go and play with your mummy, you know, because if I want to go in anywhere, I will, and I'll go on doing that if I'm on a wheelchair. So there you go. Wonderful what you can do with the Lord, isn't it? Love playing the Gibson. It's a beautiful instrument, isn't it? It's a handful of music, I can tell you, but it's lovely to sing the Lord's praise this morning. I once sang this. I was with a group of intercessors, about 30 of them. Mary was there. Mary's ruthless. You know, up she gets and grabs everyone's hand. And before I knew it, the entire company was dancing round this room, and I couldn't stop. I went on for ages and ages and ages. I couldn't stop. You see, the thing is, I'm in a prattly mood this morning, aren't I? The thing is, this is how I see it, right? I got a guitar here and the fingers in it, but that's fine. I'm not a brilliant guitarist, I just lead worship, but sometimes the Spirit gets into my fingers and I feel they're full of music. I can't stop. And I don't. And I don't know how I sometimes stop on a Sunday morning. In fact, I don't know how I stop now, because the Spirit, if the Spirit's going to move in us, He has to inhabit our physical as well as our spiritual. So I sometimes feel He's in my fingers, and when that happens, I just don't worry. I don't know what chord. I mean, I don't find the guitar difficult to play at my level, but I go, okay, right, whatever you want, Lord. You want anything, you can have it. Whatever you want. It's a wonderful experience well, I know I'm blessed to be able to play, but it's wonderful when that happens, when you know, the gift of music gets in my fingers, and then I'm afraid we're for it for an hour, and that's my one frustration, I think, with online, is that we keep it smallish, but the other frustration is I don't get any feedback in worship. But the funny thing is, I do get it from you. See, I do, because I know you, and especially it's the Sunday morning congregation. We've worshipped now for many, many months, and we know each other. And I do feel, you know, you reaching out to me. Lovely, isn't it? I'm going to start a new thing next week, perhaps on Tuesday. This is what I've got my stuff. Don't worry, I'm going to do the one in a minute. But I'm in a rabbiting mood this morning. If you can't have a rabbit when you're 74, when can you have a rabbit? I was watching. There's loads of live streams on the internet, and I picked up a convent from France where they do morning prayer beautifully. And what was happening was the morning prayer was going on, and down the live they turned the live chat into a prayer stream. And so as the sisters went through morning prayer, up down the live stream were coming lots of prayers. I remember I could read a little bit in French. Pray for my friend, their marriage be reconciled. Somebody pray for my children. Seemed to have about 19 of them. Who am I to talk? Somebody else was praying they'd be safe in their travel. It was a lovely stream. I thought we could do that. Perhaps on, let's get it into our heads first. So we'll have a morning, Rachel. We'll get used to it. But my idea is that I'll read some psalms, or I might even sing for 10 minutes, because we like to do our Bible reading. There'll be stuff, I'll do that, and you can post prayers on the live chat. So we'll turn the live chat into a prayer room. And you can just post your prayers or your adorations or your worships, and others can read them and respond or not. So sometimes on this stream this morning, occasionally people would post, but mostly they were just sharing their prayers. I thought it was beautiful. Whilst the service was going on. So I thought we might do that next week, one morning, maybe Tuesday, and turn our live stream into a prayer room. And I don't know yet whether I'll sing, or just 10 minutes we'll do it, because we only have a short time. I don't know whether I will sing or whether I'll read psalms. But one day next week, let's turn live chat into a prayer room together, just for a short time. It'd be good, wouldn't it, don't you think? And develop our sense of supporting each other. Do you think that'd be a good idea? I do. Right, we come to the next well number 5. It's having a bit of a tough time, Elijah, isn't he, moving around them all. Yesterday he was at the heart well. This material, by the way, the 7 wells, is in my latest material that I'm writing called Spiritual Warfare, which will be on Kindle sometime next month, but I'm going to use some of it next week when I do the evenings on Spiritual Warfare. So we come to the 5th well. So far, none of these wells have met these needs because the cloud hasn't risen. What's the fifth well? When the early church, when James was arrested and killed, the Jews thought that was great, and so they decided they would arrest Peter too, kill him. So they arrested him and put him in prison with the intention of bringing him out the next morning and killing him. But this happened in Acts 12:5. Peter was kept in prison, but the church was earnestly praying to God for him. And while he was in prison, an angel turned up and said, Peter, it's time to leave. And Peter said, well, I'm chained. The chains fell off. Think of Wesley. My chains fell off. My heart was free. And get your clothes on. We can't walk naked through the streets, Peter. And he put his clothes on. The first door opened. The second door opened. They came out into the open. The gates of the city opened. And Peter went probably to Mark's house, we suspect. And there the church was praying earnestly. In fact, it's interesting. The church was praying so earnestly they didn't hear Peter knocking. Well, I know in African churches praying very loud. I suspect it was very loud, and Peter couldn't get heard. So Rhoda turns up, takes one look, and goes away again. Peter's going, for goodness sake, open the door. Finally, they open the door, and wow, it's really him. Interesting, not his angel, it's really him. And he spoke to them, and then he was taken away where he wouldn't be found. The 5th well is the well of earnest prayer from the church. This is a well which is so important to the Father, and for this reason. And you have to understand the theology here, so I'm sorry we have to do that, but you have to understand this. In the Old Testament, the glory of the Lord often appeared. It appeared on Sinai when the tablets were given, for example, and it often appeared over the tabernacle as Israel travelled. And it appeared in the New Testament at the Transfiguration. The glory of the Lord came down onto groups, and then it came down on Mount Transfiguration. Right. I'm sorry about this feedback. I have no idea why. David and I will sort it out later. I always think when we get disturbance, it's because it's really important. So, the glory at Transfiguration, where did it go next? The glory after the Lord's ascension was placed in the church. The Lord's glory is the church. The glory was placed in the church. The glory that appeared at Sinai and at the Transfiguration, just to name but 2, that glory, that that unspeakable beauty and power and awesomeness of God was placed in the church. It doesn't appear now outside, it appears within the family of God. That's what he did. He placed his glory in the church. So when it comes to serious prayer, the church is the place. The church must learn to pray earnestly. That's an interesting Greek word, you know. It's the same really as Hannah pouring out the soul. You know, it's the prayer that says, John Knox praying, you know, said to the Lord before the revival in Scotland, give me Scotland or I'll die. Give me Scotland or let me die. One or the other. You either give me Scotland in revival or I'd rather be dead. And he repeated that over and over and over again. That utter, total commitment to God. If you don't do this, I'd rather be dead. It's so important to me. If you don't do this, I'd rather be dead. And that's the end of it. You know, I'm not interested in you saying no. I'm not interested in any reasons for you not acting. You either act or I would rather be dead. That's putting your life on the line. I've been there 2 or 3 times myself. And I'm getting close to it with revival. I said, well, if you're not going to let me speak revival, you might as well come to heaven. There's got no purpose here on earth. You know, it's an earnest commitment to prayer, a very deep, earnest commitment to prayer, a profound prayer, very, very deep. You know, it's not banging God's table. That never works. But it's pouring out the soul, as Hannah did. But this time it's the church doing it. The church has the capacity which Amos had. When God said he's going to destroy Israel, Amos went and pleaded with him, and God didn't. Amos changed God's heart. That joy and honour now rests in the church. We have the capacity to influence the heart of God, and we have to pray earnestly. I don't see it in the church. I don't see it in England anywhere. In Ghana, I see lots of noise, Abigail. I see lots of noise, but I don't see this. I think Ghana has come to believe that the louder we shout, the more God will move. Well, God isn't deaf, never has been. And I often say to you Ghanaians, when it came to Mount Carmel, where was the Lord heard? He was heard in the daughter of the voice, in the whisper. So it isn't a question of volume, it's a question of a heart. And in Ghana, I don't see the heart. Often I see lots of shouting, but I don't see, unless you give me this, I'd rather be dead. That's Hannah, but in the church. See, this is a very profound well indeed. This is the deepest so far. And the power was in Israel, in the Hebrews, in the people of God in those days. So I know Elijah wasn't praying post-resurrection, but the principle hasn't changed. God never changes. His glory was in his people, and his people should have been praying with Elijah. And then I don't know quite why. Interesting. There must be some problem here this morning. Let's not worry about it. David and I'll sort it out later. It's interesting, isn't it, how at the moment I speak about this, we have trouble. Isn't that interesting? Don't you think? The people of God should have been with him. He should not have been praying alone. It's as simple as that. And he was on his own, praying, and so it didn't work. That's frightening, isn't it? Don't you think? If the church, we seem to have fixed it. I don't know what I've done. My fluence, that's what it is, my fingers. Now, listen carefully to this one. If I hadn't rabbit on so long, I could say some more, but never mind. The glory is in the church. The glory was in the Hebrew people. The glory has always been in God's people. They, the old covenant people, could have done the same as the New Testament church, but they weren't there. Elijah was praying alone, and it's not enough. Isn't that frightening? It means if the church fails, if the church doesn't pray, if the church doesn't do its job, then I find that rather alarming, don't you? Fifth well, and didn't do the job. So we've been to 5 now, and each one appears like it might be the answer, but isn't the answer. It keeps on, we keep on, you know, our fathering and risk and heart and all the rest of it. And now today, you know, pouring out now today, church, well, number 5 still hasn't done it. Elijah must have been getting a bit desperate, I think. And as it's Friday tomorrow, we will pass quickly to the 7th well, because I want to complete this week. So we'll do 6 and 7 tomorrow. Isn't it alarming that you think all these wells he's been to and none of them done the job? And he's aware now he hasn't got the stuff, hasn't got the rain. Look tomorrow. I was thinking yesterday, I do sometimes, and I found another little flower poem came up. I like them. This is little flowers from yesterday morning because it was raining and I was sitting in the sanctuary. Little flower was sad. No flowers had come, and no one saw how beautiful it was. Its stalk bent down to the ground, and sorrow flowed up from its roots. "Oh dear," said the gardener, and as he put his hands into the soil and down to the roots, little flower began to hope again. No flower came, but little flower believed that in the hands of the gardener one day it would. And then everyone would say, "Little flower, you're beautiful." But little flower would know, and only little flower would know, where the beauty had come from. It's lovely, isn't it? Morning, Anne. It's lovely, isn't it? They're so simple, little flower poems, and yet they, you know, they're so deep, and they're so heartwarming, aren't they? You know. Let's finish with it again today. Okay. Little flower was sad. No flowers had come, and no one saw how beautiful it was. Its stalk bent down to the ground, and sorrow flowed up from its roots. "Oh dear," said the gardener, and as he put his hands into the soil and down to the roots, little flower felt hope again. No flower came, but little flower believed that in the hands of the gardener one day it would. And then everyone will say, "Little flower, you're beautiful." But little flower would know, and only little flower would know, where the beauty had come from. You know, I think I'm a little flower. Well, thank you, everybody. We a bit short of some of our people this morning. Morning, Anita. But, you know, we come, we go, as we do. Tomorrow we'll look at the last 2 wells, and that will be a very helpful, I think, week of teaching from the Lord. And we'll move on into what happens next week. Next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it'll be me on spiritual warfare in the evenings, so continue our Growing On series. And I think on Tuesday, as I said earlier, on Tuesday, part of our Chatterbox will be turning our live chat into a prayer room for a few minutes. And I think that'd be great. I think we'll enjoy that, and it'll help us greatly. So thank you for watching. I don't know why we have had the trouble we had this morning, but David and I will see if we can sort it out later, what's going on. But, you know, I always see technical problems as really the enemy trying to screw up what the Lord wants. And I've found that technical problems can sometimes be a huge stimulus to the faith. I was once preaching as an evangelist, and it wasn't going very well. I was preaching away, and suddenly there was this great screech and scream. A cat had got into the organ pipes, couldn't get out, and suddenly let out this awful scream. And I thought, that's the end. The thing's finished. The mission's dead. This is dead. You know, because it really will. We got to stop and sort this cat out. Later, when I made the invitation, a man came to Christ. And I asked him, what really caught your attention? He said, the cat. I said, what do you mean the cat? He said, I thought what he was saying was rubbish. I wasn't interested at all. I thought you were boring. This is boring. I don't need this religious rubbish. Until the cat. And when the cat interrupted you and just about ruined the meeting, I said to myself, you know what? Something's trying to stop me listening to this. And from that point on, I listened with a different heart. And now I've given my life to Christ. So there you go. See, technical things can I have learned over the years, technical things can be a huge asset to the kingdom. Isn't it amazing, eh? So thanks, everybody. Nice to see you this morning. Morning, Heather. And there you go. Heather didn't know about the wells of prayer. Well, there you go. See, stick around, sister. See what we'll discover together. See you tomorrow. Those now, Facebook now. Had some trouble with Facebook yesterday. Oh my goodness! But when the weather's like this up here, when we've got storms, it's always a bit tricky. So I'm going to Facebook now, and please join us if you're in the Facebook family. If you're not, want to stay on, please just stay on. David, later we'll have to sort this feedback out together. I don't know what it is. God bless. See you later, everybody. Facebook next. I wonder what this feedback is. Anybody on YouTube? I just don't understand what it is. Whether I'm close, whether I'm far away, whether I'm left, whether I'm right. So we'll have to sort that out later. Let's